Hello and welcome everyone. Today, we're diving into the world of hacking with Graham Ivan Clark, the young man who shook Twitter and stole millions in Bitcoin in just a few seconds. Make yourselves comfortable, because today you're going to learn everything about this intriguing figure, the brain behind the massive Twitter account hack in 2020 that affected well-known American personalities such as Barack Obama, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and Kanye West, and most importantly, how he did it. Let's get started. This young face belongs to Graham Ivan Clark, an American born on January 9, 2003, in Hillsborough County, Florida. Today, he is considered a master of hacking and cybercrime. But before that, let's see where and how our friend grew up, and most importantly, why he ended up where he is now. Graham Ivan Clark grew up with his mother, his father, and his older sister. His first major setback came when his parents divorced when he was just 7 years old. This event left deep marks on him. As a result, the young boy developed a total attachment to his dog and a profound disgust for school and authorities. Immediately, his life turned upside down, and the little boy was torn between constantly warring parents. Fortunately, his father eventually moved to Indiana in 2020, and things calmed down. But it was already too late by then, since Graham had become who he is, a high-level computer delinquent and cyber criminal. Do you think if his parents had not divorced, he would have turned out differently? Do you think he would have had better chances and received a better education that could have prevented him from taking the wrong path? Let us know what you think in the comments. For now, let's return to the childhood of Graham Ivan Clark. From an early age, Graham showed signs of rebellion and law-breaking. He then found refuge in the virtual world of gaming to escape his difficult childhood. And during his teenage years, in 2016, when the internet was burgeoning, Graham Ivan Clark used various pseudonyms to join online communities, gaining notoriety as a scammer in the Minecraft hardcore factions community, since the hardcore factions community is known for swatting, doxing, and hacking, particularly violent parts of Minecraft. He specialized in the hardcore factions variant under the pseudonyms Open and OpenHCF. Thanks to his performances, he quickly became popular. However, his behavior soon attracted negative attention in the gaming circle. He was a real scoundrel at the time, and Graham did not hide it. In 2018, Graham Ivan Clark joined OGUSERs, a forum dedicated to selling, buying, and trading online accounts with cool usernames. Of course, this also included Twitter accounts. Graham was quickly turned away and banned from the platform, just 4 days after joining because of a Minecraft cape scam. There are also rumors that Graham Ivan certainly scammed another user, but there is no proof of this. In 2019, when he was just 16 years old, Graham Ivan Clark made his first big move. With the help of a group of hackers, he remotely hacked the phone of Seattle-based investor Greg Bennett. He managed to steal 164 bitcoins, which were worth nearly $856,000 at the time. The teenager used a SIM swap attack technique. Clark then sent 2 extortion letters under the pseudonym Scrim, stating, "We just want the rest of the funds in Bittrex," referring to the cryptocurrency exchange, Bittrex, that Greg Bennett had used, and a second one stating, "We are always one step ahead and this is the simplest option." It must be said that he was slightly more clever than the others. From this whole story, the United States Secret Service was only able to recover 100 bitcoins during the robbery, and no one knows what happened to the remaining 64. In an interview, Greg Bennett said that a Secret Service agent had told him that the person with the stolen bitcoins had not been arrested because they were a minor. Indeed, they were. Graham Ivan Clark narrowly escaped justice. Now, let's focus on the biggest hacking feat by Graham Ivan Clark. Today, the young American is considered the mastermind behind the 2020 Twitter account hack, an unfortunate event that shook social platforms at the time. He led a group composed of 2 other boys, Shepard, 19, and Faisley, 22. Graham Ivan Clark himself was 17 years old. Yes, he was the youngest and yet the most ingenious. As I mentioned earlier, Clark directed the operations while Shepard and Faisley specialized in the role of brokers in selling Twitter credentials to OGU users. Thus, the Twitter hacking operation began on June 14, 2020, when Shepard and Faisley helped Clark manipulate employees through social engineering. They called a number of Twitter employees, posing as the IT support service of Twitter, supposedly to address a reported issue with the platform's internal VPN. His method of attack was simple: use a technique called SIM swapping to hack Twitter accounts. SIM swapping involves diverting someone's phone number by convincing a telecommunication operator's employee to transfer the number to a new SIM card controlled by the hacker. He targeted Twitter employees with access to the company's internal tools and was then able to access celebrity accounts. Everyone fell for the deception, and Clark then began to operate with complete ease, as he had managed to stay one step ahead of them before they realized the subterfuge. No stress. To avoid detection, Graham Clark directed the employees to a phishing site that looked identical to Twitter's VPN login portal. And when the employee entered their information on the phishing portal, the credentials were simultaneously entered on the real login page. Then, Clark proceeded with several steps for the hacking operation. After collecting personal information about Twitter employees, such as their names, addresses, and phone numbers, he used it to manipulate telecommunication company employees to transfer the target's phone numbers to SIM cards he controlled. Once he had control of the phone numbers, Graham Clark was able to reset the passwords of the target Twitter accounts and access them. Afterward, the final step of spreading the scam was initiated. The young American used the hacked accounts to spread a Bitcoin scam, promising to double any donations sent to a specific Bitcoin address. Clark and his accomplices manipulated users into believing they were sending their Bitcoins to a charitable cause or a trusted individual. The hackers also posted messages offering to double the amount sent in Bitcoin by the victim's followers, using the pretext of the COVID-19 pandemic to attract people. Eventually, the operation ended with staggering success, as Clark and his accomplices earned more than $117,000 in just a few hours through 415 transactions. The Bitcoin theft obviously had a lot of consequences. Besides the enormous financial losses, the celebrities whose accounts were hacked saw their reputations tarnished, and as if that wasn't enough, the attack also damaged users' trust in social media platforms. You can imagine that Twitter did not just stand by and watch the huge disaster unfold. The company implemented several measures to prevent future SIM swapping attacks, including making two-factor authentication mandatory for all users, enhancing its employees' security training, and implementing measures to limit their access to internal tools. The 2020 attack against Twitter is undoubtedly the climax of Graham Ivan Clark's story. In total, he managed to steal more than 130 accounts, belonging to influential personalities such as Joe Biden, Elon Musk, and Apple. If we were to assess, Graham Ivan Clark's story vividly illustrates the precariousness of online security. But not only that, it also depicts the potential destructive consequences of attacks on social networks. But rest assured, Clark did not get away this time. On July 31, 2020, the 17-year-old American was arrested at his home in Northdale, Florida. He faced 30 criminal charges, including 17 charges of communication fraud, 11 charges of fraudulent use of personal information, 1 charge of organized fraud over $5,000, and 1 charge of accessing a computer or electronic device without authorization. The young man's bail was set at $725,000, more than he had stolen in Bitcoin, and against all expectations, he had the audacity to plead innocence. His hearing took place on March 16, 2021, via Zoom at the Hillsborough County Jail since it was in the midst of COVID at the time. The American was sentenced to 3 years in prison followed by 3 years of probation under a plea agreement pursuant to Florida's Youthful Offender Act, which limits the penalties for criminals convicted under the age of 21. According to the Florida American newspaper, Tampa Bay Times, Graham Ivan Clark spent part of his time in a military-style boot camp. The plea agreement stipulated that Graham Clark could not directly or indirectly access any electronic devices without both the express permission of his probation officer and notification to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. The American hacker was also required to provide a list of all email addresses, interactive computer services, internet domain names, commercial social networking site websites, computer and online or remote storage devices, internet identifiers and the homepage of the website corresponding to each internet identifier, or the name of the application software, personal telephone numbers and cell phone numbers that were under his custody or control. In short, he was laid bare. And so as not to leave empty-handed, Graham Ivan Clark was ordered to disclose passwords, security codes, tokens, and anything that might help him resume his activities once released. Graham Ivan Clark was released from the St. Petersburg Community Release Center in Florida on February 16, 2023. So, watch out for your Twitter account. Now tell us in the comments what you think of Graham Ivan Clark and the sneaky method he used to steal Bitcoin money with impunity. And before you go, don't forget to click here to watch another one of our videos.